So, welcome guys to the first episode of the Enrich Anime Podcast. My name is Ricardo, again with my two good people over here. Introduce yourselves.
Okay, it's your boy Kevin. What's going on?
That's it.
Listen, I don't know what I don't know what to say. This is the first episode. You know, this is the first episode.
Yeah, this is where you
bring the smoke. Yeah.
Listen, I didn't get a chance to rehearse, and I'm not the greatest improviser. But I will say, I will say we here for a good time and a long time, looking to create some nice wealth here. But we doing it for the love of the game.
Yeah.
Amen.
All right, man. That's what I'm talking
man,
about.
If you don't know who the fuck I am, man, check the damn receipts, man. Okay, check the fucking receipts. I'm here.
My boy,
I'm
Kenny.
here. The King Kenny. Let's go.
All right, awesome. So with this episode, it's going to be real One Piece heavy. So we're going to talk about giants. We're going to talk about gods, villains, and bad fathers. I can't wait for that one. Yeah. So
ready for this.
Just in case for people who are listening, if you are not a One Piece manga reader, you got to bounce.
Spoilers incoming.
Facts. I give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, cool. So anyway, in terms of the history going on Elbaf, we're learning about the God Valley incident, Elbaf's history. We're learning about what happened to Loki, all within, Elbaf. Even when everything is happening with the God Knights finally invading the island of Elbaf. And since Loki has finally been released of the shackles that Elbaf has put him through, Loki's about to go off with Luffy about throwing hands with the God Knights and the rest, right? Now, gentlemen, I ask you, should Loki join the Straw Hats? Kenny, I start with you, boy.
No, nuh-uh. And I know this is probably not a surprise, or maybe it is. Maybe there are a lot of people out there that want Loki to join the Straw Hats, right? I mean, he's a cool character, he's a giant. But my first issue with Loki joining the Straw Hats is this: how the hell is he gonna fit on the ship? Are we just gonna? Are we just going to sideswipe that? Like, this shit is not an issue.
Yeah,
he can't fit on the ship, bro.
Okay.
That's number one. Now that serum that I think Scopper Gabon's wife took.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that serum that she took in order to make her smaller, right? Maybe that's a thing, right, where you can come in, but I don't see that being like easily accessible to like everyone. Whose phone is that?
That's over here. That's over here. I completely forgot.
No. All good, man. You could just mute it. You could just
mute your mic. You're good, bro.
Yeah, that's good. All right, cool.
Go ahead, man.
So there's no way in hell that Loki can fit on that ship. But you know what? For the sake of argument, let's say he can fit on the ship, okay? Right? So Loki can fit on a ship, and there's no issues with his size or whatsoever. We then have to take into consideration what has been the overarching figure, right? At least the overarching idea that the Straw Hat crew goes around, right? And we can really talk about it in terms of how Oda's writing is, what his process is, and how the dynamic of the big three, which is Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro, right? The big three, how they can actually be, they're like the core, three, like the big three of the Straw Hats.
Yes.
You cannot usurp that. There can be no one that comes into the Straw Hat crew that usurps that dynamic. Loki does. If he comes in and joins the crew, he definitely does usurp that dynamic. Now you have to think about it from this standpoint. If he comes in and usurps that dynamic, Sanji's character is essentially relegated to being just one of the guys, right? One of the background characters, right? We don't talk about Sanji enough as it is. He doesn't get much love from the community as it is. Loki being in that crew is like, it's basically someone like Rayleigh joining the crew, or someone like Shanks joining the crew. You cannot have that. Absolutely not. And someone like Loki does not bow down to others. He does not. That ain't his character. So you have to take that into consideration as well. Why would a guy like Loki, the king, the de facto king of Elbaf, bow down to Luffy? That ain't happening. You don't see that often. You don't see a sovereign leader from a country bowing down to a pirate. That Loki, I believe Loki has his own path to cross, right? He has his own path to follow. It's not through the Straw Hat crew. It's through Elbaf. Once Elbaf rids this whole thing, once the whole arc of Elbaf is over, right? You got to pick up the pieces. Why do you think Yamato didn't leave Wano? Why do you think Momonosuke didn't leave Wano? Why do you think Vivi didn't leave Alabasta? There's a reason for that. Okay, these leaders are not meant to leave their country just like that. Odin did. They're not meant to leave their country. They're not meant to leave their country. So this is the overarching idea throughout One Piece. When you watch all the way back to Alabasta with Vivi, and all through Dressrosa, through we didn't
Wano?
have Wano was one.
Yeah.
I wanted to say Fishman Island, but that wasn't the case in Fishman Island.
Yeah.
But there is an idea here, and I don't think Oda this late in the story is gonna deviate from that. Therefore, I do not think that Loki should join the Straw Hat crew, and I don't think he will.
All right, Kevin, what you got, bro?
All right. Just for the sake of controversy, I'm gonna say yes, right? And I say yes because of the fact there are a few different reasons why I say yes, right? For starters, narratively, it would make the most sense. We've been getting this backstory for quite some weeks now, and we've kind of come to the inference that Loki has thought he was the sun god the entire time, when in actuality he's not, and the actual sun god is Luffy, as we know. I think it's very important to note that because of this fact, Loki, once seeing Luffy in action, realizing that he's the sun god, will change his tune. As far as the big three dynamic on the ship, I've been seeing non-stop comparisons of Loki to like the extremely high tiers in the show because of what he did to Harold. And I won't say that it's not a strong feat, because it is, but at the same time, it also had a lot to do with his devil fruit, and he had barely just touched Conqueror's Haki. And this was a Herald that wasn't a sky splitter. As we know, the main frontrunners in the One Piece story leading up to the end of the backstory of Elbaf with God Valley, and then Roger and Whitebeard clashing on that island all those years ago, they progressively got stronger as time went on. And Oda has this narrative that when you start getting into the peak of the pirate levels, and the closer you get to Pirate King, is by establishing the fact that you can split the sky. Harold at this time couldn't do that with Rox, as strong as him and Rox were. These were literally the main two front runners for that era at that moment in time, and they couldn't do that. I definitely think Loki is very strong, and that devil fruit that he has, being I would assume either ancient Zoan or mythical Zoan, makes more sense mythical than anything, because it's one of the two legendary fruits of Elbaf. I would also say that we don't have any modern day feats, which I'm hoping we'll get in the upcoming weeks, displaying that he is of that level. I won't say that he's weaker outright than the three of them. I definitely don't think he could beat Luffy and Zoro in a 1v1, but that's too early to tell. But at the same time, we can't make inferences, and we can think, but we can't say definitively that any of this is possible, purely because of the fact that you have no feats. Like, we can't say, oh, this is definitely possible because we seen you do this. Like, I won't sit here and be like, oh, him not toying with Harold is definitely not a crazy thing, because it definitely was. And this is, people are always saying that, oh, Harold, he was holding back and whatnot. No, this was Dami Reversi Harold that was actively coming at him and got beat up until he got brought back to his senses for him to be like, I'm gonna stand here, take the final swing. That had to happen. But at the same time, I don't know, we cannot say for certain that he is stronger than either Luffy or Zoro. I'm not giving him Luffy. Respectfully, I'm not giving him Luffy. Zoro's a toss-up. I can see why that would definitely matter, but as far as like the argument that because he's a giant, I'm not hearing any of that either, because Kaido is also a giant. And we've seen how that turned out, regardless of what people want to say. A fight to the death is still a fight to the death. So it's like, you know, but size is definitely, it matters to people that aren't of peak tier to high tier. Like size is irrelevant at that point. But outside of that, I definitely will agree that it doesn't necessarily make sense for Loki to join, just because his personality for one, and the fact that he is now the would-be king. But at the same time, his personality doesn't necessarily fit king either, purely because of the fact that he could have left the kingdom a long time ago, and he did do that. And I think people are missing that when they're like, Luffy, they're hearing the backstory now and they're like, oh, Shanks and Loki didn't fight. No, I think they did fight. That's the reason why he was tied to the tree in the first place and he called Shanks a coward, because he wanted to set out and go to sea to get revenge on the world government for Harold and what they did to Elbaf. But Shanks, knowing that the true sun god was coming, said, be patient. Don't do this right now because you will lose. And Loki wasn't hearing any of that because of his personality, and that's what caused them to end up fighting and him getting tied to that tree, as far as that goes. But I think it's a bit of a toss-up. I will say Kenny made some great points as far as like Oda keeping a narrative as to these main figures of these countries that are saved don't end up joining the crew in physical sense, but they're under their banner. I definitely think it's fair to say that it could go either way, just because Loki he's a bit of a wild card, I should say. He's not too much of this side, and he's not too much of that side. But I will also say that we can't ignore Harudin. Harudin is also present. While I don't think he's of the same level as Loki or Jarul in terms of raw power, I think he would carry on Harold's legacy pretty well, but wouldn't be ignorant to the fact that this is the current situation and we need to change what it is that we're doing. So I think it's a bit of a toss-up as far as whether or not Loki joins.
I think
his Grand Fleet, 5,600 members.
Yes, because I don't have him being in that aspect due to the fact that, well, Kenny, you said that he can't fit in the ship, quote unquote, because too big of his size, right? And I personally feel like he's going to be the leader of the Giants because of the whole Elbaf history, right? Because during in the backstory, Loki's father asked Loki to kill him, and obviously he wanted him to live and be the next leader in Elbaf. I personally feel like Loki will not join the Straw Hat crew, but he'll join the fleet in terms of going against the war in terms of Emu and the government. So I really don't technically have him as joining the Straw Hats definitively inside the team, but I got him as a fleet admiral and being the leader of the Giants.
I can get behind that.
So just say you agree with me then.
I said no. You're talking about
Say you agree with me.
No, hold up. You're talking about the initial crew. I'm talking about the fleet.
No.
There's a difference.
There wasn't too much specification, to say the least.
Hold up. Time out. I was talking about the fleet, not the initial crew. There's a difference.
That the figures that they've gone throughout their trip, throughout their voyage, right? There is always an overarching idea, right? That's the Straw Hat fleet. What you think VV's part of? What you think Alabaster's part of? Alabasta is protected by the Straw Hats. They are part of the fleet.
Well, I
I'm
don't
sorry
know about that right now.
Oh, really? Okay.
I
So Kevin,
I only say it because
hold on.
the government got Alabasta look.
Okay. Bro, first of all, they didn't even know about VV's father. That's number one.
That's true.
The Straw Hats don't know about him. You telling me right now that if the Straw Hats were in trouble against let's say another country, so to speak, VV won't. They will not dispatch their troops over there. You're telling me that if the Straw Hats knew that VV was in trouble, they wouldn't come save her?
I'm not saying that they won't. I definitely think that they will, because we've seen that when in the Reverie, the whole conversation on the ship between Luffy and Zoro and just about everybody about him wanting to go save VV, but then he brought up Sabo and Ace and whatnot.
What does that mean?
Because I say it only because of the state that Alabasta is currently in. And
yeah, but that's not valid. That's not valid.
As far as Alabasta's current state, right? We can't compare somewhere like Wano to Alabasta, or even like Dressrosa to Wano, right? Purely because of the fact that as far as they are right now, while you definitely have like troops there, they are still political parties in their own right. They're their own kingdoms. That's why the fleet has members from these places, but they don't have like general authority over the kingdom itself, as far as like, we're gonna go help this, because at the end of the day, they're still a kingdom helping pirates under the 20 under. So in a sense, it's like they can send people from there. So like, let's say all right, Vivi's like, all right, we gotta go, so on. So she's gonna collect a few people and they're gonna go, but as a country, they cannot do that because it just doesn't make any sense.
Let's just cut the bullshit. It ain't that fucking complicated. Okay? It's not. It is not. Let's call it like we see it. Why are we making this harder than it needs to be?
It's not that it's
Vivi
harder
will
than it
come.
needs to be. She definitely will. That's not what I'm not debating you on that. She definitely will. I'm just saying that with people in their Wano is a very unique case because Wano sits outside of the world government, right? As far as Wano's concerned, we don't even need to talk about that because once they're ready, Momonosuke is gonna come running, Yamato's gonna come, all of them they go come running in spades. But as far as the countries that are inside of the world government, they're still going to do so, but it's definitely not gonna be as clean cut as we'd like it to be, purely because they still have to adhere to the government. Because regardless of whether or not they want to, we've seen them literally kill a celestial dragon for defending a fishman, and that was a squabble between celestial dragons just because, and they ended up killing him because his idea and his thoughts didn't line up with the agenda that they have going on. So it's not out of anywhere to really say that if they really didn't want to and there was a clear connection for like more than probable cause, that they wouldn't step in to try and stop this alliance.
Yeah, but Kevin, so here's the thing. Here's what I agree with you to some degree, but here's where you lost me. Do you not think, and this is a question for you, I think you know the answer to this. Do you not think that if they did that, let's say some shit fucked up, like some fucked up shit happened, right? And Alabasta selected just a small group of people, right, to go fuck shit up with the Straw Hats. Let's say that would have happened. You think for 1 second the world government wouldn't know about it? And see, this is exactly where I'm saying, let's not make this shit too complicated.
I get you.
I don't give a damn about Alabasta is still going to be in trouble. Once they mobilize those fucking troops to save the Straw Hats, it's a wrap for them. So why just have a select few? And this is my
okay. I see where you're coming from. I see where you're coming from.
Why have a select few when you know you're gonna get fucked up by the world government anyway?
Okay,
send them motherfuckers.
I get you.
Because you fucked either way, right?
Yeah. Damned if you do, damned if you do. Okay, I get where you're coming from. All right, I hear you.
Right. Yep.
Say less.
Okay, so Kenny, you got Loki not joining the crew, or he is joining the crew?
Yeah, I got him not joining the crew. I got him not joining the crew. He is staying in Elbaf, right? Because he's gonna have to be there to pick up the pieces. And without Loki, and this is my last point about Loki. Without Loki, Elbaf has no shot. They have literally nobody to defend these. You gonna rely on Scopper? Come on, bro.
Past his prime.
You gonna rely on Scopper? Stop. You gonna rely on Hyrule? Come on, bro. You gonna rely on who? Who else? Jaru?
But hold on. As a matter of fact, now that you bring his name up, you know what I'd love? Because Bonnie is currently on Elbaf, and in this latest chapter, they just talked about Jarul in his prime and that he's the strongest to ever come off the sea. I would love to see some age 8 fruit magic go to work and see what he looked like in his prime. That's me personally.
That's a good. I like that idea. I like that idea.
Yeah,
that's actually
because I don't think Oda just threw it out there just cause. We got someone that can mess around with people's age and whatnot, and then we're talking about
but the
also,
thing is,
wait,
how about this?
That's also a cheat code.
If Bonnie stays in Elbaf, then I got Loki leaving because of what you just brought up, Kevin.
Yeah.
If that happens, then if Bonnie stays in Elbaf, then Loki can go. But I don't think she'll stay in Elbaf.
I don't think she will.
I don't think she'll stay in Elbaf. So I think Loki stays in Elbaf to help with the defense, right, against the world government, right, and then obviously the Straw Hat Elbaf will fall under the. I mean, so here's the thing. Here's the tricky part. Elbaf is already under Shanks' protection.
Yes.
Okay. So what happens? Is it still gonna be under Shanks' protection once Luffy leaves, right? And that's the real issue here, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's the issue with what I think about the Straw Hat, about Elbaf joining the Straw Hat fleet. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Do you believe
that's gonna happen?
Then let me ask you a question. Do you believe, since you brought up Shanks, do you believe, like, let's say Luffy and the Straw Hats actually they save Elbaf or whatever? Do you believe Luffy will take Elbaf under Shanks?
No. Shanks is highly respected in Luffy's circle. I don't think anything happens there. I think, he knows that Elbaf is being protected by Shanks, and as long as that's the case,
well, he's not doing a good job.
I mean, you can make a case that he's not doing a good job, but the thing is this: there's a reason why. Hold up. You don't think Shanks knows? You don't think Shanks knows that shit's getting
No.
fucked up in Elbaf?
I believe he knows.
But
He
there's
does
a reason,
know,
exactly. But there's a reason why. There's a reason why Shanks is like, you know what? I'ma chill and let Luffy handle this. There's a reason for that. He's been waiting for Luffy for a long time right now.
That's what I was about to bring up. I think me personally, I think it will go under Luffy's banner purely just because of the narrative, right?
Right.
As far as we know, I think Shanks is a very key player in all of this, but I also think that the reason he's not there at this moment is because of what you just said, and that he knows Luffy's gonna take care of business. And this is the person that they've been waiting for hundreds of years. It doesn't make any sense that they went out of their way to go to Egghead to get him and then bring him back to Elbaf when he was already going to make his way there, if it's not for the fact that this is the legendary warrior that we've been waiting for. It's also the reason why Shanks and Loki got into the fight in the first place, because he's like, yo, he knows what's going on. He's been in the Holy Knights. He knows that the fruit that they have in Elbaf isn't the fruit that they're waiting for. They're waiting for Nika, and Loki's not Nika. And because of all of this, it's been shown throughout time that everyone's just waiting for this person to arrive. Even what was Vegapunk had said it. Vegapunk had said, when he was talking about the Buster Call and whatnot, he said that there's no way that Luffy will lose to this Buster Call. It means literally nothing, because he is a figure so powerful that thousands upon millions of people have been waiting for centuries. And now that he's come, he's going to set all of them free. I don't think so directly, but I think it will follow the same narrative of them going to a place that has a lot of problems. In this sense, Elbaf is they're being threatened with the loss of some children. Luffy's here to free them. I also think that, back to like whether or not he'll join the crew, I think something we overlooked is that ever since Loki was a kid, he wanted to go out to sea, and I don't think he had a problem following someone else because he wanted to join Rox's crew, because he idolized the way of Rox lived.
Wait. It was the same shit with Yamato.
Everybody
was like, everybody was like, yo, Yamato's gonna join. And then all of a sudden she was like, nah, I'm good.
I definitely agree, but then I think it also matters as to how these characters' backstories and like their ideologies play into it. Because the only reason Yamato didn't join was because of the fact that she wanted to be just like Odin. And before Odin left Wano, before he joined Whitebeard, he went around all of Wano and united it before he left.
True.
Now that Wano is the way it is, she's trying to do the exact same thing. She wants to see everywhere that Wano has to offer before doing so. Because she said herself that after she goes on her journey, then she'll definitely be a lot more open to the idea of leaving.
But she didn't say she's going to leave, though. She said she's open to the idea of leaving.
It's true.
It's like, listen, the Straw Hats are not coming back to get her. I'm sorry,
no,
bro.
They're not.
So this idea that she might still join the Straw Hat, right? And I'm not saying you said that. But there's an idea in the community that she's still going to join the Straw Hat crew, and that you know, a little time needs to pass. She ain't joining the crew. It's over.
She's Grand Fleet.
Yeah, she's Grand Fleet at best.
She's Grand Fleet.
Yeah, because you see, because the thing is,
go ahead, Ricardo.
Because you see, the thing is like with Yamato, I'm glad that you brought up, because you knew the comparison between Yamato and Loki. But the difference is with Loki actually has a better shot of joining the crew today than Yamato would have done, because Yamato, to some degree, is Loki of a hypocrite. If you really wanted to follow Odin, you would have followed Odin in his footsteps to actually leave, explore the world, and do the things that you have to do within Wano at the same time, right? And obviously, if Yamato joined the crew, all bets are off. And we wouldn't even be having this conversation of Loki even having the potential of joining the crew. Because if you have Loki and Yamato in the same crew as the Straw Hats, bro, it's GG's for everybody. It's raps.
Yeah, it's completely unnecessary.
Exactly.
It's
so you don't want to put
unnecessary.
Right. So you don't want to have put too much in one plate. Right. So it's very good that what we might see with Loki, because I'm really interested what he got left in the tank since he's about to fight with Loki and everybody else, but neither here nor there. But speaking of Rox, since you brought up Rox, bro, Blackbeard. Okay. Right? Based off the history that we know of God Valley, and since I'm putting two and two together because we know the history of what happened to Kuma and God Valley and Loki's past, what happened in Elbaf and everything like that. Since we saw what happened to Blackbeard when he was a baby in God Valley, do you believe currently right now, the way he is right now, do you believe Blackbeard is carrying Rox's will? Kenny, I'll start with you, my guy.
I think no, I don't think he's carrying Rox's will. So they have two different stories. If you look at the way Rox was brought up, at least explained to us, he was pretty much like a hero, right? His peers deified him. He was like a god to most of everyone not named Roger or Garp, okay? If you were not named Roger or Garp, he was basically a god to you, right? Mm-hmm. And he was highly respected amongst his peers too. You cannot say the same for his son, okay? Because it's a different story. Like his son is, his son, he's just a different person altogether, He wreaks havoc, he cheats to win. There's a lot of things that he does. He takes the easy way out that Rox necessarily wouldn't do. Rox never ran away from a fight, but Blackbeard does, right? So how can you say that he's carrying his will when they are literally and figuratively two different people? The significance of how the only way you compare them is he came from Rox's balls. That's basically it. No, seriously. That's basically it.
Nah,
he came from Rox's balls. Everything aside from if Rox was to see Blackbeard right now, he wouldn't like who he is. Based on what we saw from Rox. Was Rox a punk? Did he run away? Did he take the easy way out? Did he hide behind his crew? So there's a lot of things. Like Blackbeard is your ultimate heel, okay? He is your ultimate heel, like a heel of all heels, okay? Rox is like fucking Brock Lesnar. That motherfucker is like Brock Lesnar, okay? He doesn't need to cheat to win. He knows that once he walks in, he's that motherfucker. And you're going to need your whole crew to take him down. If your name is not Garp or Roger.
Okay.
So my thing is I don't think Blackbeard is following in
Rox's will or his footsteps. Yeah.
Yeah. I just those are complete. He wants to this man wants to Blackbeard wants to destroy the world as we know it, right? He wants that's really what he wants. Rox was different. Rox just wanted to take care of his family, bro. Those are not the same. They are not the same, bro. So yeah, none of that bullshit.
Kevin?
I just want to make sure. Am I still being heard pretty well?
Yeah, you're good, bro.
Okay,
you're good.
Yes.
My phone is charging at the moment. Completely forgot about that. Okay. I don't think they're the same character. I don't think Blackbeard is carrying on Rox's legacy in the way that we are thinking. I understand that Oda's writing is, when it's ready, it's very complex, but at the same time can be very simple. I don't think Kenny made some excellent points as to their character differences and whatnot, but I also think it's important to note that it goes back to the narrative of bloodlines and why it's so important. I think because we don't know if Blackbeard knows that he's Rox's son. And as we currently know, anytime one of Blackbeard's members speak about him, case in point, for example, when we see I don't remember the woman's name, but the woman with the nine-tailed fox fruit and the guy with the warp fruit, they're in Egghead, and they had just came to touch the Gorosei, and Saturn had asked what makes Teach, why are you guys here doing this for him? And they both replied that because he's special. We don't know we know what that means as the watcher and reader, but we don't know what that means inside of the verse as far as who knows what exactly. Rox wanted to be king of the world, but at the same time, he was trying to keep his family safe and secret because of the bloodline that they carry and them being of the Davy line. And we don't know much about Davy D. Jones besides the fact that he's the one that started Davy back fights and that Emu's hella afraid of him. So as far as the two of them in parallels, I think in a way Blackbeard is doing his own thing, but I don't necessarily think he's carrying on the will of Rox in the way that we think. I think as time gets further on, and if he doesn't know, when he finds out what his bloodline actually entails, and if he finds out the story of it all, I think that'll definitely change his tune. But the way that they're writing Blackbeard in importance to the story, I think he's very Rox-esque, just like how Luffy is very Roger-esque, and how they're gonna come together to deal with Emu. But I think as far as like 1-to-1, I definitely do not think that Blackbeard is carrying on Rox's will.
Well, for Blackbeard, I think we all agree that he's not carrying Rox as well, but they have very similarities due to the fact that they both had a chaotic crew between with their
Yeah.
own individual crews. Like Rox literally had the Yonkos by the palm of his hands.
It was a mosh pit.
Bro, it was. And like none of them had loyalty to each other. It was only ambition that they wanted. Like obviously Rox, I said not Rox. Kaido wanted to be the strongest. Same thing with Whitebeard. Like everyone had their own type of, I'm not gonna say animosity, but they had their own goal towards what they wanted in Rock's crew. But they all had was just power, right? But for the difference is, I think we could all agree in terms of Blackbeard not carrying his will is that Blackbeard is targeting the world and not just wanting the One Piece. I do agree with you, however, on one thing that you said, Kevin, is that until he learns who he truly is in his own lineage in terms of the bloodline, and I think because everything is happening in Elbaf so much, going back to that, they said that's where the quote unquote D started, right? So we're gonna
Yeah, the land
learn
of D.
yeah, the land of D, right. Started in Elbaf. So the fact that it started in Elbaf, we're gonna learn a lot more history about the will of D in Elbaf based on the lineage of why everyone has the D in their name within the lineage of that specific bloodline. Now, and I do agree with you in terms of because Luffy and Blackbeard have two separate wills. I don't think personally, this is just my personal opinion, I don't think they're gonna work together, right? Because Blackbeard is just like so power hungry. Like what is it? He's so power hungry to a point where like he wants it all, right? Like he stole Whitebeard's fruit. He went to Boa Hancock's island to some degree, stole her fruit. We still don't know what happened to Law about his fruit. So like it's like a myriad of possibilities of how much power hunger he has, and which is why the main reason why I don't think they're gonna work together, right? So like obviously Luffy is Joy Boy's will, and Roger's will, but I think I'm sorry, Blackbeard's will is more of Rox's will, but from a different standpoint of world domination, right? So that's where I have it. Blackbeard isn't random. He's just like that nigga's just chaos. Like
Yeah.
he's like it's almost like he's like the Joker on steroids in a way in terms of One Piece. But like for Blackbeard, I'm like Rox, that's his pops, and that's his thing, man. And Rox is that man. That he became my favorite pirate personally, outside of Zoro.
Oh, he's definitely up there. He's definitely up there.
He became one of my favorite pirates, right? But speaking of fathers, I've been wanting to talk about this forever since this shit started, bro. Because shifting gears to Dragon Ball Z, yes, because the Galaxy Patrol arc is about to pull up. Kenny's face, I'm laughing. The Galaxy Patrol arc is about to pull up with Moro, Granola. You got Bardock's past. You got everything like that. But in terms of being fatherhood, and fatherhood's a great word, right? The never-ending question is Goku is a deadbeat of a father? Now, before you guys go, because I know you guys have a lot to say in this, I'm just going to say this, right? There's a lot of pros and cons to what Goku did as a father. Big time pros and cons. Despite he decided at the time during the Cell Games, after the Cell Games was over, despite he decided to stay in Otherworld, he missed out on Gohan's entire childhood to the point where he could have trained Gohan to be the actual best Z warrior that they could have. To a point where Goku has to stop fighting entirely, meaning passing down the torch. He left Earth twice, right? He trusted Gohan's potential, and it didn't actually pan out to the way it happened. And what happened was he prioritized training over taking care of his family. And Piccolo did much more of the parenting than Goku ever did in his career as a Saiyan and as a father. Now, I'll leave this to you guys. Kevin, do you believe Goku is a deadbeat of a father?
No, I don't. Right. I'm gonna right.
Go ahead, bro.
I'm gonna say this, right? There's a very fine line. There's a very fine line between. Okay, let me not even say that. There are levels of fatherhood, right? No one is something that we can, as people, we can relate to. When we are trying to do something new, we do it the best we can, and we use other people's experience as a kind of focal point or reference point to do it ourselves. As far as we know, with the Saiyans in general, they were a very harsh race. They didn't really do any of the whole parenting thing. And Goku is an anomaly in this sense because he gets sent to Earth. He hits his head, so he doesn't remember anything, but he gets brought up with humans. He doesn't necessarily have the background that, let's say, like the normal human being would have in terms of everything. It was kind of just, we're going to go do whatever we want to do. And then the story starts with collecting Dragon Balls, so on and so forth. So as far as like what normal necessarily looks like, he doesn't have an idea of it. He kind of just plays it by ear. As far as Goku as a father, I will say that Goku's not a deadbeat, but at the same time, I will not say that Goku is a great father or whatever. I'd say he's somewhere like in the middle ground. Why? Because there are so many different points of perspective to look at his actions, and they're backed up by things that we see in the story. So if we want to start, like, if we want to go down the timeline and like keep it relative, we have Goku literally spending just about the entirety of the beginning of, like, before we see him and Gohan come to Kame House, it's literally just been him, Goku, and Chi-Chi living their lives, etc. He comes, Raditz comes to Earth, we see that fight, and Goku has no choice but to, die, because otherwise that's a losing battle for everybody, because no one has the strength to stop Raditz. Goku dies. We are preparing for the Saiyans to come to Earth, and the Saiyans come, we duke it out, we take care of that, we move on. Past the Namek Saga now, everything's going on, Goku comes, saves the day, etc. Now, Goku, because this is something that people definitely talk about, maybe not as much as the stuff that I'll talk about in a second, but people talk about, Goku staying off planet for 3 years when he could have went back and he could have spent that time on Earth. Goku didn't do this because he knew that Frieza survived and that he needed to be able to stop Frieza when he came. That's a small part of it, but at the same time, he had crash landed on Yarjat and everything that happened, etc., so on and so forth. As far as like the main bit of it now, as far as like Goku dying in the Cell Saga and choosing to stay dead, as far as that whole thing goes now, Goku realized that he realized a little too late, and this definitely plays into him being a bad father in our eyes because of the fact that he didn't realize that his son didn't like fighting. Like, he was so focused on saving the Earth, knowing that he couldn't save the Earth. He was like, you know what, consequences be damned. I'm just gonna have to, tunnel vision. He saw Super Saiyan 2 in the what is it called? The hyperbolic time chamber. He saw glimpses of Super Saiyan 2, and he knew that by the time they needed to fight Cell, no one besides Gohan was going to be able to achieve that level of power. So he focused on training him, and that glimpse is what like really pushed him on to do what he did, until Piccolo pointed out, he's like, listen, your son doesn't like fighting if you haven't noticed this. He's just doing it because he wants to spend time with you. And I think it definitely plays both into him being a bad father, but also the narrative being followed. Because as we see time and time again in these arcs, the reason these threats, the reason for all the training and whatnot so excessively is because of Goku's existence. It all started with the Red Ribbon Army, and this is just an army that wanted to do evil for no reason, and Goku stopped them. And that transpired further on into the rest of the story leading up to the Cell Saga with the Android 17, 18, and Cell. And Goku choosing to stay dead was his way of saying, okay, as long as I'm gone, these threats shouldn't come to Earth. But I will also say, at the same time, this transition from the Cell Saga to the Buu Saga also has to do with the direction of the story. The direction of the story played a very big part because at this point in time, Toriyama was moving away from Goku as the main character to Gohan. Gohan was supposed to be the main character when we came back from the Cell Saga, and this was supposed to be a transpiring of the events that happened in him doing so. But because we as the fans were like, no, we want more Goku, he ended up bringing Goku back even against the rules of the verse by Elder Kai giving up his life to Goku, etc., when that was never a thing that was talked on beforehand. I definitely think Goku could have made a lot better decisions to do what he did, but he was just doing things the best way he knew how at the same time. To us, it's like, I definitely will say that in the 6 months leading up to Beerus' arrival, Goku was there. He was doing the
6
fatherly
months?
thing. Right, hold on.
6 months?
Hold on. Right?
6
I
months?
will say, right, 6 months he was there living life, because we seen what it looked like. We seen what it looked like when there was no prevalent threat. There was no prevalent threat whatsoever. There was no need for the obsessive amounts of training, and he kind of just did it whenever he could. But he was there trying to do his thing until Beerus shows up now. Because he said it himself, the reason he's going to train with Beerus is because Beerus made him realize that there is a whole universe of people that can threaten to destroy the planet, and he is in no position to do anything. That's why in the Battle of Gods movie, it was talked on that this power, he was upset that this power wasn't his own. And it was one of the first times we heard Goku talk about Saiyan pride. We don't ever hear Goku talk about Saiyan pride. That's a Vegeta thing. Goku brought this up because he understood that he needed the help of others to do this, and he couldn't do that. This was a very special occasion, but he needed to do what he needed to do to stop Beerus from destroying the Earth. And we saw that that still failed miserably, because if he wanted to, the Earth would be gone. So that definitely led him to going to Beerus's planet to train at that point. But as I said, I'm not going to sit here and be like Goku's a great father or anything like that. I say he's definitely somewhere between bad and okay. He just played it by ear to the best way he could and just dealt with every day as it came. Because at the core of it, Dragon Ball Z is literally just the adventures of Goku and what happens tomorrow. There's no like hardcore plot direction for the story. But I won't sit here and be like Goku's a great dad, because he's not. I'm sorry.
So is he a deadbeat or not?
Okay, if it's between the choices of a deadbeat and a great or not, I'm gonna have to go deadbeat. But I definitely think there's a lot of nuance. There's nuance in the answer. I don't think it's as simple as you're a deadbeat or not, because we know what deadbeats look like. We as people see what deadbeat fathers look like, and Goku ain't that by that definition. That's all.
Okay, Kenny, go ahead, my dogs.
The fact that I had to sit here for fucking 10 minutes and listen to your drivel, and you know what? I actually like you, man. You're a cool dude, okay? But your argument made me sick. Okay, your argument made me sick. I can't believe. By the way,
ladies and gentlemen, they just met today. Keep going.
I can't believe you are making a case that Goku ain't that bad. Basically, what you said the whole time. He ain't that bad. I mean, he's bad, but he ain't that bad. Okay, you said one thing, and I want to address it real quick before I get into my reason why Goku is a deadbeat. You said that Goku, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you said Goku didn't know that, or rather, Goku knew that Frieza survived after the planet Namek was blown up. Was that what you said? He didn't know.
He did. No, he did. As we see in right after Frieza had got there, Goku said that he was racing back to Earth at this point because he sensed Frieza coming.
Exactly, but he didn't sense Frieza, right? He didn't. Okay, after planet Namek blew up, he didn't sense Frieza. He only sensed him, but he only sensed him.
He knew that he was still alive.
No, he only sensed him. He only knew Frieza was alive, and he was shocked by Frieza being alive because he felt dread. He immediately, once he sensed that Frieza was alive, he was rushing back from planet Raditz, right, to teleport back to Earth to deal with him. Had he known that Frieza was alive, would he have teleported to Frieza's location and then killed him? We don't know. We don't know. But Goku always want to run the fucking fade, right? But in the immediate aftermath of planet Namek blowing up, he did not know that Frieza was still alive. He was just as shocked as Trunks was, as everybody was, that, oh shit, Frieza's alive. It took a while for him to sense that Frieza was actually still alive. So let's just get that out of the way. It wasn't like planet Namek blew up. Oh yeah, Frieza's still alive, but I'm gonna go to another planet, right? I'm gonna go to planet Raditz and then learn instant transmission. And then I'm gonna let Frieza go back to Earth. And then once he's going back to Earth, that's when I'm gonna come. Nah, that never happened. That never happened. So let's just call it like we see it. Okay. Goku did not know that Frieza was still alive after the planet Namek blew up. Okay. He only knew Frieza was alive when he sensed Frieza going to planet Earth. Okay. Now, staying on that logic, let's go back to the main issue at hand. Goku is a deadbeat dad, okay? And I wanna bring up 3 things here, and I took some notes. In order for you to be a deadbeat dad, you gotta have one thing above all, and that is absence, okay? Can you give me a 5-year stretch, okay? Before Gohan's, after Gohan's birth. You think Goku actually was there racing Gohan with Chi-Chi, like bringing him to like parent-teacher conference and shit like that. Do y'all think he does that?
I honestly don't know.
Do y'all think he does that? I don't think he does that. But
I honestly.
But you know what? For the sake of this argument, let's just say he was there the whole damn 4 years, right? Before Raditz came to Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say Goku was there. He was the ultimate father figure, right? And once Raditz comes, everything was thrown in disarray, right? So after Raditz came to Earth and was defeated, can you name me a 5-year stretch? Just a 5-year stretch that Goku was there for Gohan.
No.
How about a 4-year stretch? How about a 4-year stretch?
I'm thinking because I don't remember exactly what had happened. I'm trying to think. No, that was about 4 years. I bet that's 4 years.
The only stretch
Trunks comes back.
Yeah. The only stretch was when
Trunks comes back. They're
Goku
training
and Gohan
together for,
had
like, the next 3 years.
No,
Yeah, I think that was about it.
Excuse me.
No.
I was gonna bring that up. No. So when Trunks came from the future to warn about the androids, that was only 2 years. It was 2 years.
Only 2 years. I thought it was 3.
Nah,
Okay.
It was 2 years because you can't initially count the year that he came, right? So you got to count the one after that. So the fact that when the year that he came, you count the one after that. And so the thing is, and the people can't say about the hyperbolic time chamber that a year passed, but it was 1 day. That definitely doesn't count. So it's only a legitimate 2 years from point A to point B that Goku literally chilled with Gohan and raised him.
Okay. Good. Thank you, Ricardo. I appreciate it.
No problem, bro. I got you, bro.
So between being dead and by the way, being dead was Goku's choice.
Yes.
Okay. You can say like, okay, when he died, obviously he sacrificed himself, right? But sacrificing yourself was your choice.
Yes.
Not coming back. Yes. Not
It
coming
is a
back.
choice.
Hold up. Hey, listen, Kevin, I'm making a even better point here. Not coming back? Motherfuckers wanted to revive you. You chose to stay the fuck away from them. You said, nah, don't bring me back, bro. I'm good. I'm gonna stay right here. I'm gonna stay right here and run the fade with these niggas, with these dead niggas. Okay? I'm gonna run the fade with these guys. Y'all just stay there chilling. Okay? So he was dead by choice for 7 years, training in space and in other dimensions, and doing that, he spent more time away from Gohan and Goten than he did with them. Okay.
So before you continue, can I ask a question?
Okay, go ahead.
Right? Okay. So just to like touch back on my point of the atrocities that would follow with Goku's presence. When Goku was dead for 7 years, did we ever see any world-ending threats? For 7 long years, it was nothing but peace and prosperity. We can't sit here and say that Goku, knowing in hindsight that these threats were coming to Earth because of him, isn't like a legitimate point. Because if we look at all the main villains, if we look at all the main villains outside of Nappa and Vegeta, right? Because they came there for the Dragon Balls, so we won't talk about that. Frieza came to Earth to throw the fade with Goku. The androids were created because of Goku. Majin Buu, that predates him, so it's whatever. What?
Androids were created because of Goku?
The androids were.
Did you not read the whole fucking saga? The Cell saga? Dr. Gero was collecting data from literally every single Z fighter.
He was creating data from everyone, but who was the one that wronged him in the beginning? Why does Android 16 look like Jero's son? Because Kid Goku killed them when he destroyed the Red Ribbon Army. All of that is vengeance upon. All of that is vengeance.
Hold on. Time the fuck out for a second. So the 7-year skip, right, where Goku was not on Earth, further proves my point. It doesn't buffer your point. Okay.
Well, no. Now, my point. No. Not the entirety of the point. The reason I brought it up is because of the fact that we can't say that Goku choosing not to stay dead didn't play a very big part.
But you don't get to sit here and say, right, that if Goku was there for that 7-year stretch, that we would have still seen motherfuckers come to fuck with planet Earth. That's not the case.
Because look,
who was gonna fuck with him? Who was gonna fuck with him?
Beerus
Yo,
came
what
to
the
Earth.
fuck? That nigga was sleeping with over 30 years. He was sleeping for over 30 years, bro.
He was sleeping.
What are you talking about?
Years, right? He slept for 39 years, right? And he woke up. And the reason he went to Earth was because of the dream that he had about the Super Saiyan God. And the reason why that was relevant at all was because of the fight that Goku and Frieza had, where Goku killed Frieza.
Goku was nowhere close to being a Super Saiyan God.
That's
That's
not what I'm saying.
So how would Beerus wake up then, bro? How would he wake up?
That's not
How would he wake up?
You're linking.
You gotta answer.
You're linking it.
That's my question, bro.
I'm trying to. Right? I'm not. I didn't link the fact that he woke up because of Goku. I said Beerus woke up from his nap after 39 years, and the first thing that he did was figure out what was going on in the universe, because Whis played him up. Whis was like, yeah, this so on, so forth. And he said, he asked about Frieza.
Bro.
We said Frieza's dead.
Bro.
He said Frieza's dead? How is Frieza dead? Hold on, right?
We're not jacking
Wait, hold on. No. You can't say you're not jacking it when Beerus out of his own mouth verbatim says that he's going to Earth to see this quote. He confused it and thought Goku was a Super Saiyan God, but because Super Saiyan was in the title, he's like, we're gonna go to Earth and see what's going on. If Goku didn't beat Frieza, didn't achieve the Super Saiyan form and none of that, there would be no we're going to Earth to figure it out. There's not direct correlation.
How many years? There is none in Z. In Super, yes, but there's none in Z. There is absolutely no reason why. There's absolutely no reason why.
You didn't specify Z and Super. You just asked me for a time when this happened. Am I tripping? Am I tripping? I thought I wasn't.
So let me help you.
I'm trying to figure out.
Let me help. Let me. Wait.
I'm
let me help you
out. Because I didn't know we were talking about
Kevin. No, Kevin. I got you. So basically, what Kenny is saying is that like he's talking about within the 7 years. If you look in between the 7 years of the duration between the Cell games and the Majin Buu arc, right? Beerus was in the middle. Okay, he was in the middle of those arcs.
Yes, he was nowhere close to waking up.
Exactly. So which means the fact that he was no closer to waking up within the duration of time of the 7 years that Beerus was in between the Cell games and the Majin Buu arc, Goku was nowhere near close to Super Saiyan God level. And even if Goku did stay in the verse within those 7 years, Beerus would have came anyway. And which means the fact that Beerus would have came anyway, it would have been raps. It would have been over. So basically,
bro.
And my point is, just to clarify, just to go back before I go back to Kenny, my thing is with Goku is that, like, based on what you brought up, Kevin, you was like, yo, the story was supposed to be surrounded about Gohan. Yes, you are right. But I personally don't believe it was because of the fans, they wanted more about Goku. I personally believe if Goku stayed within Gohan, took care of Gohan as a father, to a point where Gohan would have been much more better as a fighter. He would have been strong enough to take care of the Z fighters to the point where Goku no longer needs to fight. To about passing of the torch of what Gohan needed to be what Goku needs to do for Gohan. Go ahead, Kenny. Go ahead, man.
Y'all really truly believe
that... Wait, hold on. Before you continue, I want to clear something up. Beerus didn't happen in between the 7-year time span.
No shit.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, Beerus is... No, he didn't. Beerus happens after the Buu arc.
Yes. So what the hell? No. Not immediately after.
I didn't say... It's not 6 months after the Buu. It's 6 months after the Buu arc, because that's when Super starts.
So you're telling me, that if Goku stayed on Earth, got revived, Beerus would have came after that?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I think
so what's your
point? There's a miscommunication here. My point was the fact that it was Goku's existence, because that's the whole trope here. Goku's existence invites challenge. The reason why Beerus waking up. And Beerus waking up doesn't have any correlation with Goku being anywhere near Super Saiyan God. My point was just that in the chronological way of events, Beerus had just woke up after 39 years from his nap. That was it.
After the 7 years, not during the 7 years.
This is after the 7 years.
So that point is me. I'm not even. I don't even care.
Miscommunication is coming from.
I thought you were asking. You brought up Beerus
in general. I didn't know. I misunderstood. I thought we were talking about Dragon Ball Z in general. I didn't think we were just talking about the 7 years.
Yeah, I got you. We don't care about Beerus right now. We don't care about Super right now. Okay? Because the events of Super happened. The events of Super happened after the 7 years that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about anything after that.
My point was that in these 7 years of Goku not being there, we didn't see any conflict whatsoever. Everybody was just living their lives, doing whatever they were doing.
So during that 7 years, So during that 7 years,
Goku
okay,
was absent.
that's fine. So during that during that 7 years, you cannot find me one villain. Not after the 7 years, but during that 7 year, you cannot find me one villain that would have attacked Earth if Goku was there.
But but that's my point. We don't know that.
Because,
that's my point.
No.
You can't say that. You can't say that because Goku's not there. Give me a villain, because we have more than one villain on more than one occasion stating in some way, shape, or form that Goku is the reason that they're here, whether it's by their own creation or their own vendetta. We can't say that it's irrelevant because it didn't happen. It didn't happen because Goku said, I'm not going to be here because I know that I'm the core of all these world-ending threats coming. So I'm going to stay dead so you guys can live your lives. We have more than one example of them being there for some reason, shape, or form for Goku.
So hold up. Because the story was convenient enough to have a villain there, right? That's the point that you're making, that this is why
it was convenient there.
No, it's pretty convenient.
We look at the villains that were there outside of Vegeta. Cell was created to be able to beat Goku because of Dr. Gero's vengeance against him for destroying the Red Ribbon Army.
Frieza
came back
Kevin,
for vengeance on
that
Goku.
issue predates Dragon Ball Z. Okay. Dr. Gero goes back to Dragon Ball. Vengeance. Okay. The Frieza arc, right? The Frieza, I acknowledge that. Vegeta, I acknowledge that. Raditz, I acknowledge that. Majin Buu, I acknowledge that. Majin Buu, well, really predates.
Majin Buu, Majin Buu, we don't.
Right?
That's after.
Cell,
yeah, that's after.
Cell, oh, no. And see, this is where we defer.
No, I'm talking about the Majin Buu.
Cell predates, I got you. Cell predates Dragon Ball Z. And here's why. Dr. Gero created Cell. He created 18 and 17, correct?
Yes.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't create. No, he was creating Cell at the time. 16 and 17 didn't come later on because those are people that he stole off the street. I'll have to go look for an exact timeline on it. But
he made it.
He's responsible for all the androids and Cell, correct?
Yes. Period.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
And the reason for that was because of what Kid Goku did, not the adult version, right?
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that predates Dragon Ball Z. Okay, that's beef from the past. When your ops is fucking running the fade at you for what you did to him in the past, that's the past.
But then that proves my point. As for him knowing, it does, right? Okay, outside of go ahead. Okay.
Before that 7-year time skip, all were set down. They came and they were set down.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't tell me, right, that during that 7-year time skip, when they were about to bring Goku back, hey, Dad, come back. We got you. You can't tell me shit. You can't tell me that all of a sudden now there's a villain that'll come from the depths of fucking hell to come back to challenge these motherfuckers.
But
you have no proof. There is
absolutely
no proof.
But okay. Right, I want to make two things very clear. One, as far as Goku staying dead, it doesn't necessarily. I'm not going to tie that to necessarily him like fatherhood or whatever it is. That's more of a Goku just realizing what he does, like byproduct of him being there. Right, I want to get that out the way first. I say that the reason I bring up Cell and the androids, period, is because yes, they predate Z, they predate him being a father, but it does not predate the fact that he's the reason that they're there. I will concede to you that it doesn't have anything to do with him like wanting to stay dead because I don't want to be here as a father or anything like that. But it has to do with the fact that he understands that every time one of these villains come to Earth, for whatever reason they may be, as far as the record goes, most of them are for him. And in his mind, he understands that. So because of the fact that every time someone comes to Earth, 9 times out of 10, thousands of lives are lost, if not on a planetary scale. He's making for once in his life, he's making the reasonable decision to him, and he's like, I'm gonna stay away because of this fact. Now, I will also say,
I have a question. then.
Frieza, he didn't, but Frieza didn't know he wasn't on planet Earth. Remember,
No,
Frieza can't sense energy. How? That's literally, it was one of the focal points of the. But no, it's not. It's not both ways. That was the focal point. It was one of. Hold on. It was one of the focal points of the Namek saga that they don't know how to sense energy because of their reliance on scouters.
You cannot.
That was the whole thing.
Hold up. You can't say, right, that Goku not being on planet Earth, right, saves them from danger, saves planet Earth from danger. But when he was not on planet Earth, it was literally in danger. It was literally in danger.
Yes,
and this was before the time. This was before the 7-year time skip.
Planet. Okay.
Yes, it is. That was the whole point of it being dead anyway.
Right. No, right. The thing is, right, there's a very big difference of you being off planet and you being dead. Because if we're just talking about this topic, right, of the planet being endangered, right? I'm saying there's a very big difference, right?
You didn't just say that. I know you didn't just say that.
Just for this specific point.
So you're just moving the goalposts now, bro.
It's not even that. I'm not moving the goalposts. I'm trying to connect the dots so that it's understood, right? Frieza did not know Goku was dead. He had no way of confirming this. He couldn't have sensed this energy because of the fact that he's dead. Why did he go to Earth?
That was besides.
He went to Earth for vengeance. Against whom? The first person in his life to put belt to ass. That's it. Reason locked in. We're done. Moving on. We go on to these next villains. The reason why he goes is because he's trying to exact vengeance on Goku, because he does it more than one time, and both of the times Goku is off planet, both in Z and in Super with Resurrection F, just as an example. Right? It has more to do with the fact that they want vengeance because of something Goku did. At this point in time, that's what I said. I'm trying to connect the dots so that it's understood that on one side you have Goku, yes, not being there because of the fact that he understands of what he does. But
him not being there does not save them.
I'm not trying
him
to
not
connect
being
it
there
to the fact
does not save them.
But that's literally the 7 years of peace and prosperity literally shows.
I just told you. Okay, so I just gave you an example.
Because you can't,
I just gave you an example of why it was not safe.
But that again, he went to Earth. We're not talking about the villains that are out there and still alive and whatnot that can do something. As you said, all these villains before this time skip was dead, taken care of. Frieza was not dead and taken care of.
That proves my point. No. That proves my point. That proves my point. So let's say during the 7-year time skip, bro. Let's say during the 7-year time skip. Let's say during the 7-year time skip, Frieza was revived. He ain't coming to Earth. He ain't coming to Earth.
Coming to Earth.
Of course he is. Right. So what I mean by this is this. Okay.
But that's a no.
Let me be very, very clear.
But that's a no limit fallacy. Any villain that had beef with Goku, if they were magically revived, would have come to Earth looking for scrap.
No shit. So him not being there does not fucking matter. It doesn't matter. It does not fucking matter. It does not fucking matter, bro. It does not matter.
The point that I'm making is that they're dead.
Does not matter.
They're taken care of.
Does not fucking matter. Does not matter. Him not being there, him not being on planet Earth does not fucking matter one bit, bro. It does not matter. It does not matter to the grand scheme of things, man. He's still a deadbeat. He's still a deadbeat.
They have this only works. Him being gone only works if they're dead. If they're alive,
that's not true. That's not true because you just said that if Goku was dead and if Frieza was alive, Frieza would have came to Earth. It doesn't matter if Goku was dead.
That's not what I said. You're not hearing me.
No, Kevin.
It only matters if the villain is dead.
Kevin, let me help you out.
No shit.
Let me help you out. I feel like I feel like I understand both points, but I'm actually leaning towards more of Kenny because what he's saying is this, Kevin. It was like when Goku was dead or was supposed to be dead, Frieza still came to Earth anyway, regardless. So the fact that when Frieza came to Earth, regardless, even when Goku was there or not, you know how Frieza looked at it? We know how Frieza looked at Earth when he found out that Goku wasn't there. I have another planet to conquer. If Goku's out of the way, the amount of plans that Frieza would have would be endless. Another thing is that even if Goku was alive, you don't have a lot of say-so of a lot of villains that would come to Earth, even if Goku was there. Anyway, think about this for a second. I have I got Teen Gohan in his prime, Super Saiyan 2. I got Piccolo as a Super Namek. I got Goku as a Super Saiyan, or as quote unquote an evolved Super Saiyan. I have a revived Android 18, right? Who at the time was on par with Goku as a Super Saiyan and Gohan, and Vegeta as a Super Saiyan.
Who fucking with that?
The amount of people that I have in my squad, all in their prime, by the way, everybody in their prime, coming to Earth, if Goku was still alive, who's messing with the Z Fighters? No one is messing with them, bro. Especially, hold up. Especially with Gohan, Super Saiyan 2 leading the pack. And that was before Vegeta and Goku ascended. Think about that. This is before they ascended to Super Saiyan 2, right. Super Saiyan 3. So if we have Gohan leading my problem. Hold up. Before I'm about to finish, with Gohan leading the pack in his prime, with everyone in there, and everyone into play, and hell, I would even throw future Trunks in there, of him going back and forth between the future and the present timeline of Dragon Ball Z before the Majin Buu arc. Who's fucking with that? Who's fucking with that crew? Kevin, I asked you that. Who's fucking with that crew?
Nobody is, right? But that wasn't right. Okay, right. Let me again. Yeah. Nobody's messing with that. What I was trying to say was, right. That's all. That's why I was trying to separate the two, right? It's not that the reason I was trying to separate the two is for the fact that the reason Goku stayed dead, we can't say that him inviting challenge did not play a part. That's the main thing that I'm trying to get across. Not I don't think we look. I don't think. There, but hold up. I don't think we disagree on that. Where I think we disagree. I'm talking about me and Kenny disagree with you. Is that even with challenge or no challenge, conflict still comes regardless. So the fact that conflict comes regardless. Okay, hold on. Put a pin in that, right?
Hold up. But the fact that conflict comes in regardless of the era, because Kenny brought up a very good point that I think I'm not going to say gloss over, but I think you ignored. When Dr. Gero were making the androids, he made it since Dragon Ball. The fact that, and that's a big deal, because the fact that, which means this dude was collecting knowledge for over a decade. So the fact that conflict was going to come in regardless. When Goku died in the Saiyan saga, and when Goku
my point is. Right, hold on, right.
Go ahead.
My point is, it's not the fact that that's what I'm saying. Like him not being there is one thing. What I'm saying is the presence of Goku, period, dead or alive, causes the problems. At this point in time, everyone, as Kenny said, everyone is taken care of. We're in the Cell Saga. Cell is dead. Androids are taken care of. Frieza's dead. We don't, as far as we know, there are no hostiles on Earth. As y'all said, the Z Fighters could have taken care of everything. So I have, as Goku, I have nothing else to worry about. And anything that could come in the future, I believe they can take care of.
Okay, so why did he come back?
Okay. What I'm saying, because now this is the point that I'm trying to get to. Goku's presence invites challenge, and in Goku's mind, he does not, because he's waited already, because it's Goku, right? In his mind, the loss of millions and millions of billions of people at this point does not equate to him having the luxury of being there. I will concede that yes, whether or not he's actually alive, in the sense that these villains are dead, definitely don't matter. Because in that 7 years, they could have given us Majin Buu before the 7 years was done, but it's what it was, right? There was definitely a lot of directive narrative, like on the outside going on with it, and there was a lot of stuff going on inside the anime because we wanted to get a stretch of what it would look like when he wasn't there. What I'm saying is, the point that I'm stretching is that as long as Goku is involved in the reason, that's why he stayed dead. Because using Gero as a perfect focal point, regardless of the fact that Goku had died, he came back, went to Namek, all these things had happened. This beef needed to be settled because you did something to me. As long as he's a part of the initial problem, that's where all of their stuff is coming from.
Thank you for saying that.
That's why I'm trying to separate the fact that him not being there, a part of it
doesn't matter.
Part of it in his mind. Yeah, it doesn't matter in that sense because he was a part of the originals.
I got you. Okay. No so from that point then, right? From that point, if it doesn't matter if he's there, it doesn't matter if he's He's not there. I agree with you. So wouldn't that buffer my point in that he is a deadbeat dad? Because clearly, if he was there, issues will be there. If he's not there, why not be there for your? Hold on. No. Let me finish. No. Hold up.
I agree with what you're about to say. I agree with. Why I was about to stop you is because of the fact that what my point is that as long as Goku is in some way a part of the construction of the problem, he is a part of the problem in its entirety. If you say now, right? You take a problem that we've had in the Dragon Ball verse where Goku wasn't a part of the solution, then I have nothing to say. But what I'm saying is because Goku is a part of the original problem's construction, himself, not him, Vegeta, Gohan. No, I'm talking about himself. If you take Goku out of the original construction of the problem, there are no issues. That's my point.
Okay,
let's take him out of the construction of the problem.
No. We're not gonna absolve Goku of anything. Okay, he's the issue. Like he is the issue, right?
That's exactly.
Him being there.
We agree on that.
Him being there and him not being there has nothing to do with him being a deadbeat dad. I'm sorry, it doesn't. You can say that Goku not being there, right? And this is the bullshit argument that he said. But I think he was having too much fun in hell and in heaven to really even give a fuck about planet Earth. That's just me. Okay, this guy is a fight junkie. That's what he does. He's a fight junkie. He wants to fight the strongest guy, and he knows he's not going to fight. He's not going to be able to fight all the strongest guys on planet Earth because most of them are dead. Well, all of them are dead. So who's he going to spar with? Gohan that doesn't like to fight? Who the fuck was he going to spar with? Fucking Krillin? Come on.
That's why he always has repeat fights of Vegeta.
And that's the thing. Hold on.
That's why I think him coming to that like consensus in the Cell Saga was an important part for his character.
Right, but you gotta realize something too. A father that's watching Dragon Ball Z, we see this shit for what it is, man. It's not that complicated, bro. You want to fight, you can't get a chance to run the fade. And what happened after the 7 years that he came back? That's 6 months stretch. What did his wife make him do? His wife said, hadn't paid anything. He doesn't contribute to the household.
They didn't need any money. They didn't need any money.
Where did one get the money?
Got 100 million zeni from Hercule. They didn't need any money.
Oh wait, hold on.
Because of what happened, he said, "Here's 100 million zeni."
So good thing you pointed that out. Good thing you pointed it out. What happened to the money, right? When Chi-Chi told Goku to go outside and start fucking farming. Why did she tell him to do that?
They got the money after that. He was already farming. And then Hercule came and gave them the money.
You're missing the point. No, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. No, what Kenny's about the money. He's talking about
You're right.
Okay, so the fact that he didn't do that for over 5 years, right? And the fact that he came back.
Well, actually, Ricardo, it's longer than that. It's longer than that. As far as we know, Goku never had a job. You see this nigga working at McDonald's or something? Flipping burgers?
Yeah, so basically, but then, as far as him having a job, he never needed one.
Look,
Kevin,
I feel you what you're saying.
Goku literally.
Kevin, I feel you what you're saying because they were stacked with money with Hercule, and everyone else. Like they were set for life. But
even before that. Remember, Goku is a multi-champion.
Okay, but look, I get
He's
that.
A multi-champion.
But
what you mean they don't need money?
Look, they don't need money. The grand prize for winning the tournament is zeni.
Look.
So all that money lasted them all this time.
So and then Chi-Chi now need. But my point is, if you got all this money, where is it going? You don't got no high-tech house like Capsule Corp. You literally have a farm. Any money that Goku has gotten
think about this.
from the tournament,
well, actually,
what does Goku need with money?
Kevin, I got you.
How much you think they're getting in a tournament, bro? So they're not rich. They're not rich, bro. They're not rich. So I don't know where you coming with this whole bullshit about how they loaded. They're not loaded.
Look, let me tell you something, Kevin. They're not loaded due to the
fact
that
bro.
if they were really loaded, Chi-Chi would be on par with Bulma as the richest female on Earth. Bulma is the richest female in the Dragon Ball. Period. It's been that since day one. If Chi-Chi
that's really a daddy's money. That's a daddy's money.
Exactly. But still,
that's family money.
Exactly. Because you said that they got Hercule and everything. If Chi-Chi really used the money, if she really used it, she would have never needed Goku to come back in the first place.
That was after
No,
that.
exactly.
I ain't checking that. That was after that. That was after
Right.
that.
But okay, well, hold on. But even then, she's literally royalty. Her father's the Ox King. She was literally the embodiment of a Chinese princess.
If she
since
was
was
royalty,
young.
she would have used it a long
they were
time
living.
ago.
They weren't living large though. They weren't. It's not like they were living in a fucking palace.
All right, but hold on now. Just because you have mad money in your pocket doesn't mean you need to be living. You don't need to be living extravagant. You can live.
So why
frugal.
did she need Goku to cultivate the land to be a farmer? Why?
If
they loaded
at this, I didn't know. But what I was saying, what I wasn't saying was that what I'm saying is that Goku was getting money from the world tournament as the winner. I don't know how much money, but he was getting money that he himself never used. Right? As far as we know,
he got kids. He never used. Bro, stop, man. That's bullshit. You know this.
He never
used
it.
This.
Hercule came and gave them bread, right? What happened to the
that's
money?
After.
What did they?
That's
no,
after,
but no,
bro.
but what I'm asking is create a parallel. Hercule came and gave them money. Where did the money go?
Bro, that was after. I'm not talking about after.
Kevin.
No, but what I'm asking, but you're missing the point. What I'm answer me this. Show me a time show me a time before or after. We've seen what happens when she gets a bunch of money. Show me a change in their livelihood that would have indicated money being used in mass for it to matter. Before or after, it doesn't matter.
First of all, they got kids, so I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Look, I'm answering your question.
They didn't ask.
Kevin, I'm answering your question.
They didn't ask for the money. It was a
look. It's not the point. It's not the point. The fact of the matter is that the fact that Chi-Chi chose, since Dragon Ball, by the way, of not living large or not having any royalty, despite she is royalty, she ultimately chose she wanted to live the natural life because she didn't want to take advantage of her father's money, despite she's royalty. She specifically asked Goku to start farming based on Kenny's question because she wanted to organically become a family, is what Chi-Chi wanted all along. She didn't want the whole Saiyan shit or whatever, despite she knew what she was getting into. All she wanted was Goku was to be a father, and he didn't do it for decades, bro, for decades.
She even said it. Bro,
she said it herself.
She said it herself. His kids don't see him.
Right. Goten don't see him. Gohan don't see him. That's why she relied on Gohan to become a scholar. So because she knew organically he had to be the man of the house. He had to become a genius. He had to do everything that needed to do that Goku couldn't. Right? Because that's.
Do you think, right, that Chi-Chi told Gohan to be a scholar because she knew, right, that if Gohan was a fighter, a Z fighter in this case, he wouldn't make any money.
Right.
She didn't want that life for him.
Exactly.
She literally didn't want that life for him. She wanted him to be about his business, go to school, right?
Yes.
And be able to take care of his family.
Like a normal human being. That's all she wanted.
Life for him.
So the fact that Goku ultimately chose, and I understand what you're saying, Kevin, because you bring up good points, and I feel you. But the fact of the matter is this: there's no way around it. Goku prioritized fighting and training. He wanted the smoke to actually taking care of his family. That's non-negotiable. That's no question. Without question, that is undeniable. You can't defend that. Nothing. I understand his reasons of doing it, but
when he had the
fact that when he had the chance to do it, he decided not to do it.
Exactly. When he had the chance to come back, he didn't do it. And that's not the first time he even did it. Okay?
He did it twice.
The 7-year time, that was not the first. Right. He did it twice. So we have all of that information. There's no reason for, you cannot, there's no way you can make a point that, oh my God, Goku's supposed to go, Goku did, you're making every justification for why Goku did what he did, okay?
I understand. Hold on. Justifications for everything.
I understand.
That Goku did. I'm just trying to
understand where you're coming from. I know. Trust me, I do. Okay, you're trying to add the rationale behind it, and you know what? If Goku was not a deadbeat dad, he would have made the choice to come back when he had to. Yes. He would have taken the responsibility of being a father first, seriously, right? To the point of where Chi-Chi, his wife, wouldn't have to question him about him wanting to actually be a family. Okay, because that was a huge point. That was a prevalent point
Yes.
in Super.
Yes.
Okay,
Big
so we
time
have to
point.
realize that. There's also something to be said for the emotional density. Like Goku views his children primarily as sparring partners. There was just one moment, right, in Dragon Ball Super, or maybe it was in Z.
Describe the moment. I think it was, yeah. I think, no, it was
be
Z.
a father.
It was Z. That
Okay.
10-day break that they had before the Cell games. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So
out of 7 years, he chose 10 days
yeah,
to be a dad.
yeah. Listen, your mic is cutting in and out, Ricardo, but
Okay.
he often lacks the emotional nuance to understand that Gohan actually does not want to fight. Like, he wants to be a scholar, right? And I think that played a role in him staying behind, because he knows that his son, the shit that he likes the most, his son doesn't really fuck with. And that's what I'm saying. He cannot, like, Goku can't run the fade with Gohan, right? He knows he can't run the fade with Gohan because Gohan doesn't like to fight. So he would rather stay in a place where he can cultivate his talent and be that someone, right? Be that.
Okay, but we have, but
and that's
Vegeta
okay,
is that
bro.
person.
And that's Vegeta's different. Vegeta's actually a good father because he stayed. He
Yes.
stayed.
Yes,
he actually
yes.
stayed.
Yes.
He said.
Yes.
He
Yes.
actually told his son he loves him.
Yes.
Yo, being a father, right? And I know a lot of people think it's hard, but it's not hard. It's not hard. It's not hard. You have to be there for your kids and just guide them. Okay? You have to be the last line of defense.
In what way was Vegeta there for Trunks?
Kenny, I got him. Kenny, I got him.
Leading
I
up
got
to
him.
the
I got him.
leading up
I
to
got
the
him.
moment.
Oh, wait,
I got him.
Leading up to the moment when he sacrificed himself against Majin Buu. Name one
got him.
time in the
I got
7
him.
years, or no,
I
not
got
even
him.
7, in the 8 years, because Trunks is a lot. Trunks is, I think, a year. He's
I got
about a
him.
year older than that. In the
I got him.
in the 8 years that Vegeta was there before he sacrificed himself against
Mhm.
Majin Buu.
Okay.
Outside of him showing that one fatherly moment of affection, namely one
Mhm.
time, besides
Oh,
him
you ready?
being in the next
Mhm.
room,
Okay.
besides him being in the next room,
Okay.
name one time we see Vegeta and Trunks doing.
Okay. Okay, check this out. Check this out, right? Vegeta, let's go back to time during the 7 years after when nothing happened. Goku said that I'm coming back for the martial arts tournament, right? We see Vegeta training with Trunks at Capsule Corp, right?
And by the way, he always trains with Trunks too. He always trains with Trunks.
And by the
Always.
way, and get this point. Remember this, Kenny? Remember, when Vegeta trains, he ultimately decides to train by himself. But the fact that when Goku said, like, yo, I'm coming back for the tournament, and he knew that he was coming, he told Trunks, like, you know what? Let's train together. And actually, it turned out because of Vegeta, Trunks was able to turn Super Saiyan in that time span.
Okay, all of that
So-
happened because now hold on, because we're not about to make it sound like he did it because he wanted to train with Trunks. He did it because Goku. He knew Goku was coming back. Goku
Yeah, I
was a
just
part
said
of the
that.
original. Yeah,
I just said that.
There wasn't that desire didn't come from son.
Thank
let's
you.
Let's go do
Well,
this.
well, guess what?
That was
No,
from
wait.
Goku.
No. But guess what, bro? But guess what? Thank you for repeating what I just said. Because the fact of the matter is because of Goku. The main reason that Goku was coming back alone was enough for Vegeta to bring his family in, and to bring Trunks in to train him. Because, like you said it best. Goku knows how to fight, and he wants to do nothing but to fight. Vegeta's the same way. The difference is that Vegeta is actually willing to embrace his family, to use that as a superpower to make him a better father, as an actual father.
No, you can't say that neither, because that's not what he even had. He had a family because he thought it would give him strength, not because he wanted to be a father. And we can corroborate this
And it worked.
by the speech that he gave Goku in the fight with Majin Buu. He literally said, he was reminiscing about the times of him and Goku surpassing him. He said, maybe I thought it was the loved ones that you had that gave you strength. I had a family, that didn't work. That wasn't because I want to be a dad or nothing like that. But you didn't care about none of that, because even before that, when Trunks had came back and it was aware that this is the woman you're before you even know that you have a son. That's the woman you were having relations with, and you were about to let Jiro just blow them up, and you didn't care. To the point where the future version of your son pressed you and said, what are you doing? Like, we're not going to sit here and be like, oh, there's reason to, as a byproduct If you fine as a byproduct, fine. But we're not about to sit here and be like, oh, he did this because he wanted to be an amazing father. We have to remember again who Vegeta is. Vegeta's identity, his identity, the very cornerstone of his being is tied to being powerful because that's how Saiyans were raised on planet
Exactly.
Vegeta. That's literally
exactly.
it. Everything
And
he's
hold on,
done.
hold on.
Everything he's done is to become stronger. No
Yes.
other reason. It has
Yes.
nothing to do with him wanting a family or anything.
Yes.
Those are byproducts, purely as in, there is no desire for that whatsoever. If I'll give
And
it
guess
to you
what?
as a byproduct, but I will not
Yo,
sit
bro.
here and be like, he did this because he wanted
And guess
these
what?
things.
And guess what? And guess what? He was still there for his fucking family. Way more than Goku ever was.
He was in the other room. He was literally in the other room, and he didn't.
Listen,
say
that's
a word
more
to
than
his child.
Goku ever was. That's more
No,
than
it's
Goku
not,
ever
because
was, bro.
Goku's been there for stretches. Listen, rag on Goku
Stretches.
all you
What
want.
stretches?
Listen,
What stretches?
listen.
What stretches? Go ahead.
Goku's timeline, as far as his interactions with Gohan versus Vegeta's
Yeah.
timeline with his interactions with Trunks are way different. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, they're super duper long or nothing like that. But
Vegeta was there for that whole
hand.
7-year time skip, bro.
I can count on one hand how many
That whole
times we
7-year
see
time
Trunks.
skip.
I can count on one singular hand with four fingers and one thumb how many times we see Vegeta and Trunks having a heartfelt moment. I can name on more than 10 occasions.
Who the fuck gives a shit about heartfelt?
It's literally what being
That's
a
not
good
what being a
father.
father is. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, bro, get the fuck out of here.
Father.
So being a good father means you gotta be nice?
That's not what I said. I said it's a part of it. Because what does
You gotta be heartfelt?
Hold on. What does being there for your son do anything if all you is a stone wall that has no connection with your child whatsoever? And I'm gonna speak from personal experience because I understand this. Kindness plays a part in a father-son relationship. Just because my father was stern with me, don't mistake it. My father was stern with me, but that doesn't mean that he had to be some stone wall that showed no emotion or kindness. That played a very big part in it.
Let me ask you a question. Let me
do things with him.
I got you, but let me ask you a question. When you see Trunks address baby Trunks, like kid Trunks, addressing Vegeta, does he in any way, shape, or form denigrate his character? In any way? No, I haven't seen it. As a matter of fact, kid Trunks thinks very highly of Vegeta.
Yes.
So this notion that this narrative that you're painting of Vegeta, that whoa, we never got a heartfelt moment. I don't give a fuck about any of that. You can see that Trunks loves his father.
Trunks looks up to
Vegeta from the sheer way that he addresses him when his father's not there.
Yes.
So does Gohan not do the same?
No,
he does. Hold on.
I don't see that.
Ricardo, hold up.
So,
Ricardo, hold up.
Show me
He
where
does.
he doesn't.
No. Hold up. Let me finish. Ricardo, you can explain why you don't see that he doesn't.
Yeah,
I think he does. I think he does. But I think there's a lot of regret. Like Gohan, when he speaks of his father, he doesn't speak of him like he speaks with him. He reveres his father, but he regrets the missed time that he never had with his father. He always says, "I wish my father was here. I miss him. I want to see him. Man, I hope he's doing all right." Like he speaks with regret in his Trunks doesn't speak like that. He's never addressed Vegeta in a way that would make us as fans feel like Vegeta was never a good father. But now, was Vegeta's feelings reciprocated? No. At least not until we saw it in the Majin Buu saga, right? In the Majin Buu arc. But before that, we never saw Vegeta reciprocated. But Trunks never gave us any reason to think Vegeta was never a good father. And that is the difference. And so let's not talk about
I'll concede that I'll concede that for whatever capacity it mattered enough for him to view him like that, right? As far as we are as the viewers, right? As much as Goku isn't there, I won't say my whole point, but a big part of my point rests on the fact that it's like, well, depending on who you are, I will say yes, you not showing kindness to your child or anything of the sort, depending on who you are, can or cannot play a role. but at the same time, it's like for you, like I can't see it as a strong speaking point. Just because
Mhm.
you're in the other room for 7 years means that you're a great father. Yes,
He
he's there.
wasn't in
I
the
will
other
say
room, though.
Hold up.
He wasn't in the other
but
room.
we
He
don't.
was
Okay,
not
but
in
no,
the other
I'm
room.
saying that.
You never
that
saw
as
it.
a
You never
no,
saw
but
it.
that's my
You
no,
never
hold on,
saw
right?
it.
That's no,
But
but
if
that's
he
my
was
point.
just
What
in
I'm
the other
saying, no, the
room,
reason I'm saying, hold on, right? The reason I'm saying is because we don't know. So all I can say is that he's on Earth, he's alive. All I can say
we
is that
do
he's in
know,
the
though.
other room.
Hold
But
up, hold up, hold up,
no, I'm
hold up.
talking about
We
the
do
7 year
know.
time span, the
Hold
seven
up,
year time span, right?
Kevin.
As far as when we've seen,
We do know.
as far as like talking about Vegeta, we haven't really seen that
We
much
do
of
Hold
know.
up.
Vegeta.
Hold up. Hold up.
Kevin, we
So
do know
Okay,
yeah.
from
so
the
all right,
way Trunks,
so okay,
from the way Trunks and Bulma deal with him or interact with him. He would have never said, "Don't hurt my Bulma" to Beerus if he
Yeah.
didn't feel any way towards her. He loves his wife. He
I didn't
loves
say that.
he
But I
loves
didn't
Trunks
say
too
that.
as well.
No,
I know
no,
you didn't
no.
say that. Bro, I know you didn't say that, but what you're saying is he was just in the other room. That's what we saw. I'm telling you, that's not what we saw. What we saw was his wife and his children acknowledging what a great father he was.
And let me just end this right here, bro. So the fact of the matter is like, you see, here's how for us men, because we're men out here, we're not fathers, but here's the one thing that we can all agree on: presentation matters. You have to be there. And guess what?
Yeah.
That's all kids can ask for. As long you are present, as long as you are available,
That's
you
half the
are
work,
good.
bro.
That's half the work, bro.
That's
As
half the
I,
work.
again, we are not parents, right? But we can look from the outside looking in that being present takes 50% of the work, hands down, and the other 50% is just conversational or just visual showing. Now,
Okay, so then in that sense, then
hold up,
okay,
when I said about Gohan, here's how I disagree with about Gohan looking up to his father as a father compared to Trunks. The reason why I say this is because I personally think Gohan views him as a hero more than a father. Because the fact of the matter is this: based off all the accolades that Goku has done as a hero, is something that Gohan looks up to Goku more than being a father that actually took care of him, showed him the ropes than Goku could ever done. Gohan views Piccolo as a father than Goku, that he looks at Goku as a hero. And that's a big deal. There is a reason. I'll use Kenny, you brought up Trunks. I'm gonna bring up Pan. Look at Pan's dynamic with Piccolo compared to Goku, right? Look at the Dragon Ball Super movie, the superhero movie, whatever that was. Views Piccolo as an uncle. Uncle Piccolo, straight up, right? Like, he actually views him as a male figure outside of Gohan, to a point where that relationship is tight. Rather, when we go to Pan and Goku, a la Dragon Ball GT, that Pan views Goku as a hero, and because he doesn't really know Goku as the grandpa or the father figure role that Pan looks up to. Is a glaring difference of presentation of where Piccolo is with Gohan to where Goku is with Gohan. And like I said, it goes back to being present. With Vegeta and Trunks, the fact that Trunks views highly of Vegeta as a father figure. There's a big reason why Trunks, every time when Vegeta speaks to Trunks, he says,
Yup.
sorry. He says,
Yup.
sorry,
Yup.
father.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry, father.
Yup.
Yes, sir.
Father.
No, sir.
Yep.
Because he's there. Because he knows
Yup.
because Trunks understands as a man and as a Saiyan, the standard of a man and a father and a Saiyan and a warrior and what it comes to be with.
okay.
That's what Vegeta validates that Goku doesn't.
I will definitely say that presence definitely does matter, right?
It's a
I
big
definitely will
deal,
say. I'd say
especially to us men.
using your words. If it makes up 50% and the other 50% is the actual like, um, uh,
Where's the work?
Yeah,
not I'm trying to like the interactions. There we go. That's the word I'm
yeah,
looking for. Like the interactions and whatnot.
yes.
Right. I will say that unfortunately, okay,
Mm-hmm.
in like based on with the facts and the facets of everything that's going on, while I won't say that he's a deadbeat. I'll say that he's definitely closer to a deadbeat than a good father. But
Okay.
the reason why I'm so willing to fight that point is simply because of how he's painted and his role in the story.
He's
Right?
a hero.
As yeah, that was about to say, right? Okay, I'll put it like this. The facts of the matter are as we've all spoken on for the last like 20, 30 minutes. right? And they make him who he is. At the same time, just because of the character that he is and how he's painted, he's forced into these situations, whether or not by his choice or not his choice, he ends up having to play this role of a hero where
Yeah.
he has to be more than just a father or a friend. He has to be the protector because when all else fails, they all look to him to solve the problem. So I will say yes. In that regard, Goku's definitely I myself, just because of that, I still won't say he's a deadbeat, but I will say that he's a lot closer to being a deadbeat than he is to being a good father.
Okay, so
I'll say that.
all right. So to end it all, I would say this: anime has taught us about freedom, but it never taught us how to be a dad. You feel me? So, but
Yeah.
that's the end of the episode. This episode was really great. It was mad fun. We talked about giants, gods, and deadbeat dads. So as I myself, Ricardo, to my boy Kenny, Kevin, it was a great episode. Fellas, we'll see you soon on the next episode.
I'm looking forward to this.
Peace,
Yep.
peace.
Alrighty, y'all.